I hoped that the Princess Royal was shown the first garden that I visited, the Royal Parks Garden. This was an enchanting display of foxgloves, lupins, herbaceous plants and a charming little cottage. This garden may have seemed familiar to the princess as it was designed by her mother's gardener, Ashley Stevenson. During the transformation of this site, did you ever feel that you were actually becoming the Mad Hatter?
When I first applied for the job, I thought there had to be a touch of madness. Halfway through the job, I knew you had to be mad. I think I'm now almost completely mad.
How did the garden festival become possible?
Because Gateshead Council applied for the right to hold it, the government gave them the right to host it, and it became possible because we had the land and the commitment and the people here who wanted to do it.
What are your fondest memories so far of the garden festival?
I've enjoyed it all. There are no little bits that I've ever thought I'd want to change that, because it moves so fast that the day after is, even if it's a bad day, felt like a nice day because there's another day to come. It's all been a pleasure, a real pleasure.
Smoke over here now? Yeah. Thank you.
In this looking-glass world that Alice invited us to, I soon realized that things weren't quite as they should be. Small things like cactus plants were large. And large things like trees were very small, curiouser and curiouser. These bonsai trees take many years of care and devotion to reach the stage they are at now. So if you buy a bonsai starter plant, don't expect the results overnight. Before we go any further, I must show you a very special little garden full of mystery, the White Garden. This garden represents purity and innocence, even though the man in the moon is winking. White gardens have been the results of gardeners' fantasies over the centuries, and I visited this lovely tranquil place time and time again. As well as whiteness, there are a million different colours in bloom at the Garden Festival, which is really a place of contrasting shades and contrasting times. Invitation, I imagined myself to be one of my Victorian ancestors. What would I have seen? What would I have looked like? How would I have travelled around? I wondered what my Victorian ancestors would have thought of the Catherine Cookson Garden. This garden is a kaleidoscope of the most beautiful flowers, shrubs and mosses set around haunting pools and waterfalls and featuring characters from Miss Cookson's world-famous novels. This garden is a monument to everyone involved in transforming South Tyneside into the major tourist area that it is today. Travelling around the Garden Festival is certainly a collection of journeys through time. Firstly, I boarded the steam train which took me from Riverside to Dunstan, and a return trip when I so wished. My fellow travellers and I passed the Easington Garden on Riverside, a glimpse of our past coal mining heritage, highlighted by the huge pit wheel that brought the miners up and down in their lift so that people like our engine driver could have more coal for his furnace. We passed the Northern Electric exhibition in Dunstan. The building is to be changed into accommodation for the elderly when the festival is over. With its round windows that look like eyes, I'll always remember the miniature train as resembling Thomas the Tank Engine's grandfather. Riverside, Dunstan, the Boulevard, Eslington and Norwood are the 5 areas that make up the Garden Festival. They contain 80 gardens, 2 million trees and shrubs, 60,000 square metres of turf, 1,200,000 bulbs, an array of exhibits showing the gateway to industry and leisure that the North East has become, and last but not least, the untold enthusiasm of the 1,400 staff who work at the festival. It is hard to believe that the view you now see was once a derelict gasworks, tar works and coke works, a past hell. After leaving the train at Dunstan, I travelled onwards to Eslington on one of the 3 vintage trams in operation, one from Sunderland, one from Newcastle and one from Blackpool. I passed the Leaning Tower of Pisa along the boulevard and also made some friends along the way. It's such a shame that trams have mostly been phased out of use because running on electricity, they kept the atmosphere clean and they were also very romantic. Have you ever wondered why so many elderly people refer to their past as the good old days? I then took a brief afternoon promenade through the St. Tyne's garden. This is a living monument to the noble landscapes created by our great gardeners in the past, like Capability Brown, who was born near here. I felt such a strong and warm link with past members of my family while walking through these gardens.